Let me tell you my mother had no shame. She didn't care.
She gave up her entire life to better herself, to become a better person, to become a professional.
Lo bueno de tener una mamá mexicana es ese amor incondicional.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. A little nervous, but I'm good.
What makes a good mother?
What makes a good mother?
I used to have all these things of like what I can do to make sure that I'm a good mother, and I feel like a lot of them I've thrown out the window. So now to me, a good mother is someone who loves her children and does her best to care for them with the resources that she has and the capacity that she has.
Love, dedication, a commitment to just raising decent, loving human beings.
People don't tell you that parenting is not just about your children. It's about you.
And being comfortable and at peace with your imperfections.
It helps you grow and transform into this person that you didn't think you were capable of being.
The whole act of surrendering makes a good mother.
Understanding that your kids are not exactly like you at all. Even if we don't agree, just kind of like taking a few deep breaths. And I'm not even there yet. I mean, I'm there in some ways.
It's coming.
Something that people don't tell you about parenting is how utterly fun it is.
We're gonna deal with a lot of other people's opinions on how you should be a mother and how you should raise your kids. Cancel all that noise. Like, you have to stick with your inner knowing and really trust yourself.
It's about like your own inner healing and how capable you are to handle difficult situations.
It's a role you take on for life.
It's true, I call you all the time. Mom, what should I do? Tell me.
We're there to guide them, but I found my kids to be my teachers too. So listening is really important.
My parents really instilled the importance of family. They would tell me, you might have your friends and whatnot, but you'll always come back to family, and it's so true.
Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, whenever we could find a reason to get everybody together.
We grew up in a neighborhood in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy that had other Latinos. We lived right next door to our godmother. We would go to Dominican Republic on a yearly basis.
My family was from East LA. Definitely just that combination of Chicano and American. That's where I learned about my heritage.
My culture is a big part of how I raise my children. From the music we listen to, the food we eat, it really influences them and who they are and helps them with their identity.
Raising a child is literally a village effort. It's not just my husband and myself. It's the community that's gonna be part of this child's life.
I have a very, very conflicting background with long history of assimilation in the family. And that's a very tender sore spot for me because I didn't have the grandmothers to tell me about ancestral ways. I didn't get to learn Spanish. There are lots of ways that we did have our culture and our family, and I'm very grateful for that. Even though I wasn't raised with these traditions, I felt like my ancestors really called out to me and asked me to kind of resurrect these beliefs and traditions that had got lost in transmission somewhere.
The way I do my best to pass on culture to my kids is through food. I've been able to make tortillas from scratch with them, and they love that.
Erica has now taken over the responsibility of trying to figure out the cryptic recipe of how my mother makes tamales.
It's taken about 4 years.
Nothing is measured, everything is by eyesight and taste. When you cook for people and you make traditions of these recipes and you serve them to your family and friends, it's a way of showing love.
My mother was very much rooted in Afro-Indigenous traditions of Dominican Republic, and that's something that I am excited to expose my son to.
When you know your history, you're able to make better decisions and learn from those that came before us. I know speaking Spanish isn't the only thing or the thing that makes someone Latinx, but I feel like language, Spanish, has so much of your culture embedded into it. The way we speak it in Mexico, there's a lot of Nahuatl words. So my kids are able to learn about their indigenous ancestry through their language, and they're able to communicate with their elders and help people in their community.
There are things that I started within my family that I didn't have when I was a kid. A lot of it was an inner knowing, ties and connection that I've had since I was a child. Going to Day of the Dead celebrations and hearing the danzantes, it really activated something in me. Honoring the ancestors with a home altar. That's the one that everybody participates in. They leave offerings on the altar. We change the water. Everyone changes the flowers. And it's really touching to walk by and see an offering that one of my kids leaves on their own accord that I didn't ask them to do.
What I hope to have passed down to my kids, and specifically Erica, is the traditions and practices of wellness.
My mom and my grandmother are very meticulous about
Grooming.
hygiene and grooming.
You'll thank me for it later.
I'm thanking you now.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
For any mother that's really struggling with just being a mom, my advice would be gentle with yourself.
Forgive yourself.
Be tender with yourself.
You're not a bad mom. This is hard work.
A lot of us weren't raised to value ourselves. And I feel like when you become a mother, you face those shadows. Those shadows come to you really, really quickly, and you begin to see where you're lacking in your own healing journey. In that way of you being tender and gentle with yourself, you'll be able to kind of step into that role of being a mom because you're also mothering yourself.
In addition to being a mother, I'm also a woman. And beyond that, I'm a human being that has needs. I ask for a lot of help, which as a Latina, as an Afro-Latina, as a woman, there's some condition of like this, superwoman complex that we've internalized, that we don't express grief, we don't express loneliness or hardship.
And you're absolutely allowed to feel all the feels.
How do I celebrate myself?
I guess taking time away from my kid.
I feel like when you first become a mom, you put yourself in the back burner because you're just focused on your kids now and you got to take care of them.
Sometimes I think as moms, we get a lot of guilt about taking time for ourselves.
But now being 4 kids in, I've realized that my self-care is incredibly important. I have to be grounded. I have to be healthy so I can make good decisions for my kid, so that I can treat them with love and not just react to them and perpetuate all these ways that colonization has taught us in shaming our kids and mistreating them. If I take care of myself and my own healing, that's my way of celebrating motherhood and really reaping the joys of what it means to be a mom.
Creating boundaries for myself, for my self-care, for my own time, for my art practice, that helped me really, really give myself just that comfortable place to create and to be just a giving and a loving mother. That's it. That's all I gotta say.